Okay, Heidi, do you want to start? I mean, it's 6. I know we're not recording anything or whatever, but we can go ahead and start.
Yeah,
Yes, there's.
it's your meeting, sir.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming. I know we've got some nonprofits up here, some nonprofits back there, so I'm just kind of talking. Yeah, appreciate everybody coming. Me, John, and TK met, and we had. Well, really, they had the idea to have all the nonprofits come together and try to get everybody on the same page. Because sometimes you don't know what the other's doing, and sometimes we can kind of pool resources and basically kind of work together. That's one reason to have this meeting. And the second reason is also the community and council wants to have a town hall, and I thought it would be great to have all the nonprofits at the town hall, kind of like a job fair, almost have their dinner table set up, and people can walk around and learn how they can volunteer in the community. And we'll hopefully be able to set a date for the town hall today, since everybody's here. But I wanted to, make sure everybody could make it. But why don't we go ahead and just quickly introduce yourself and who you're with, if you want. So I'm with the city. Heidi's with the city as well. We can start, I guess, the first John.
Doesn't he say
You start that, you say my name is.
Well, I already said it, but.
My name is John Blinsky. I'm with the food bank, Sheridan Rotary, and Sheridan Revitalization.
Yeah, I'm John Stanislaw. I'm the current president of the Sheridan Chamber of Commerce and also a member of Rotary.
I'm John Vandals, and I'm here as a representative of the bulletin board, just here on a reporting aspect.
I'm Judy Adams, the manager of the food bank here in Sheridan.
I'm Matt Higley, Sheridan Rotary, Hometown Days, West Valley Community Campus, and Chamber.
Hometown days.
There's no fantastic sales.
Oh, yeah, it's stick.
It's stuck.
TK is my nickname, and I'm the president of Sheridan Revitalization.
Diane Reynolds, and I'm the president for what we call recovery support services. And we have a new office building down on Main Street.
I'm grateful for that. Ian, I think you're next.
Oh, I'm Ian. I'm city councilor.
I guess we'll go Gwen first.
Gwen Gorham, I'm the director of the Sheridan Public Library.
Dory McLeod, superintendent, Sheridan School District.
Liz Hodgins, council person.
Julie, vlogger.
Lucy Hebert, city council.
Nick Kennedy, just a citizen today.
I'm Rachel Roberts, I'm the pastor at Sheridan Gathering.
Julie Schumann, president at Churches United for West Valley and also representing Sheridan United Methodist Church.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So I was going to talk a little bit about what my thought is for a town hall. I already mentioned kind of having all the nonprofits there, but my thought would be to start out with giving the public an opportunity to speak about really anything, kind of like a public comment essentially, except in a town hall format, councilors can actually engage. So if people ask us a question, we can answer it right there. And then after that, I was going to talk about a grant that would like to apply for. It's a downtown strategic plan. It's like a similar grant that the food bank got, CDBG. And while everybody's at the town hall, I'm hoping to get feedback and data really, and that will help us when we apply to the grant. And I was gonna ask this group too for some ideas on a couple of these questions. Well, one of the things I want to do, and I've done this in a different, not with the city, but having like, how you described it, having like big pieces of paper essentially, and if somebody has like a downtown theme idea, it gets written down, and then we can take that data, and then we can consolidate it. But people aren't able to attend. I was planning on having like a Google form or something too. They can just write ideas. Let me see. And then yeah, so themes is one of my big things that I like to see, because I just be asking what people have to say. And when we apply for this grant, they may suggest we have like our own like little like downtown district, and then that's like the core downtown, and then that's the theme. So we don't, it's not spread out all over town. It's just kind of like a little small downtown section that meets that theme. And then I also want to ask people, you know, what businesses they think we need, and then what businesses people just want in general, because I kind of think there's a difference between what we actually need and what people would like to just want. And then yeah, see what the city could approve on, what they like about town, and then just a couple like other data questions, kind of like, you know, what modes of transportation do you use, and then what types of, you know, services or activity would you like to see the city offer, and then all that data will help us when we submit to the grant, and then hopefully we'll get a plan back and guide us in direction. I believe there's, besides having like the big, you know, butcher paper or whatever and writing themes on it, I feel like there was something else we talked about that we were gonna have to do, like with stickers or something.
Yeah, I think what type of transportation would you like to see improved in Sheridan?
That's what it was.
And then we'll write like these ones here: street, bike lanes, pedestrian paths, sidewalks, buses, and people can put a sticker. They'll get like 2 stickers. But we're interested, I think Cale is really interested in knowing about these questions, because we don't want to have too many, too many big pieces of paper with questions so that people feel too overwhelmed. So let's make sure that, you know, with this group, that we think that these are good things to, you know, survey the people and think information.
Yeah, right.
This is kind of a thought, suggestion maybe. From hearing feedback from people in the last 10 years that I've been doing stuff in Sheridan, one of the things that I hear repeatedly is they don't know who does what. They don't know, what does the city do? What does Public Works do? Who's the librarian? Who do they see if this is a problem? Like that what streets is Sheridan responsible for? Is Sheridan responsible for Main Street? You know, like who do they see if the light is out? Like some of those big and small orientation points. And maybe the start of that should be, what does the city manager do? What do the councilors do? What is their responsibilities? Who do they see if there's, like, even just like a quick orientation to the website, which if someone's new in town, it might be a little bit confusing, like where do they find out this? Where do they find out that? And then like an introduction to the nonprofits, and then what do, like, if they need to find housing assistance, if they need to find what businesses in town, like, you know, chambers, that kind of stuff. And then we just make sure that all of the nonprofits have like business cards or contact information, and like ideally the main representative from, and then anyone else, but also the main one, like the librarian or whatever from each of those main groups would be there, so that there's a face to go with the organization, like at Public Works, the main public source person, that kind of thing, because I think people get upset, or they are wondering, or they get concerned, and they don't know who to talk to, so they put it online sometimes, and it doesn't do any good, but because it just, you know, it doesn't really go to the right person. So this way, if they know who the right person is, they have the phone number, they have the email address, and they know that someone's listening and cares, that might be helpful. But also, I think it's in part, they just don't know. They just don't know.
Community org chart.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the things we envisioned in that initial brainstorming session was having a space that was large enough, whether it was one of the schools or one of the churches, of having a large room where the outer rim could be tables with everyone from revitalization to Rotary to Chamber to Library to Public Works to the fire district to the sheriff's office, just go all around And, you know, to start it, it's funny, I was brainstorming with my wife, and one of the things, exactly what TK was saying was, start with a State of the City address by the mayor. And I think that would be a great opportunity to talk about all the accomplishments, and then say, you know, Public Works has done, you know, replaced this many, whatever, and the library's, you know, done this, and what exactly what you said, each department. And then each of those heads can get up and you can recognize those people. So then when we do break later after that initial start, if they do have a question, like you said, about Public Works, well, there's their table right there.
Yeah.
Or there's the librarian's table, or there's Rotary's table, or the food bank.
Yeah.
So people can get that initial from the mayor and Heidi and the city councilors, this is the state of our city, with that theme of the future. Right? The past is the past, and this, what we all agreed was, this is about setting a future course for the community.
Yeah.
And how do we go there? How do we bring the whole community?
Yeah, and I definitely do think what the mayor was talking about with having people being able to ask questions in an informal way is super important. But I think the first thing would be the orientation, because then they'll if they ask a question that they absolutely think, you know, the city councilors should answer, but the city council knows it's a public works question, it won't be like they're not passing it on. They're actually giving it to the correct person to answer, and it's not going to be as.
They may feel more free to communicate to the
Yeah.
right person
To the right
instead
person.
of in
Yeah.
general if they're
Yeah.
embarrassed about speaking.
And I'm not saying that people shouldn't be concerned about stuff or shouldn't want to talk about it, but the whole idea is they will know who to go to get actually the most accurate answer and help.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. John brought up a good point, like a meet your hometown day. Good old Sesame Street, the people in your neighborhood, what did they do, right? But Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers, right?
Blame me on that.
But I think getting back to what TK is saying is important, because people need to understand that if they have concerns or questions about garbage pickup, that's not the city. You can't come to Heidi and be like, well, I don't like my garbage gets picked up on a Friday. Well, here's the phone number and the contact information for the folks in the garbage company, and those are the folks to talk to. To try to, exactly like you said, route the people exactly to the right people that can answer their question properly the first time.
Are we allowed to talk?
You have to raise your hand. You have to raise your hand.
I did. I'm not good at that now.
The audience is really not the audience.
Okay.
You're not the audience.
All right, so Cale, I'm waiting for you to call on me. I would suggest that we also put together a resource guide with all that information, all that contact information. So, because it would be overwhelming in one night to remember who to contact and who to see. But if you had a resource guide as well that you could take home, that's a wonderful thing to have at
We
home.
started that like 2 or 3 times. There might even be like a partially drafted one.
I think that would be invaluable.
So,
Yeah.
we've attempted, I think that just since I've been here a couple of times, so I think what would be nice is, you know, like I keep thinking about like a science fair, right? And so we have some big space, maybe like a school gym, and then,
Old school.
and people get, you know, a table like this, and then you can put information about your organization on it, and then, you know, maybe that's even how our resource stuff, that resource brochure kind of gets started. It's like we take one collection of that at the end, like,
Oh, yeah.
and then have all of that in one place. Yeah. But one of the things I'm curious about too with this group is who is missing from our science fair town hall. So who else should we invite? So I heard, just to go on through this evening with this, so keep thinking who's missing from this
Yeah, I
group.
heard sheriff, fire.
Yeah, and the garbage.
Garbage.
Yeah.
I think that'd be good. Yep, sure.
Public Works.
We're gonna ask them about it.
Yeah, besides city staff.
Besides city stuff.
American Legion.
Yeah,
Julie's.
Bonnie was, I thought Bonnie was coming. Okay, American Legion. We got fire.
We have all the major churches.
Churches United would be there.
You reach out to the other.
I'll reach out to the ones that we have, but there's churches that aren't involved with
Yeah.
Churches United, so doing. To our best with them.
Okay, so, I mean, just as we go on, if we're like, oh, well, this person's.
What about CenturyLink? Don't we have an office here in town that someone might represent?
I mean,
Or some sort of,
both, yeah, I mean, both are in town, but I mean, it's an 800 number that goes to
oh, okay, yeah.
most of the country, so.
Does
I
it
mean,
just hang?
we could try, but
Sure, well, we have Sally.
There's also the salons too.
yeah.
Scouts.
Oh, the scouts would be
Yeah, yeah.
So like nonprofits or utility
Organizations.
providers.
Art conspiracy.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
What's that one?
Museum.
Yeah, they were all.
Yeah, any place that you could volunteer or get some kind of a service.
So we'll keep that in mind as we go on here. But do you think, I think overall, when we sat down initially, we wondered, is this a good idea? And then I went to Rotary the other day, and there was a great conversation about what is Rotary, so how do we tell people what Rotary is? And I was like, I think that there's an opportunity.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, there's an opportunity for that coming up, and so.
Those are,
I was thinking the community garden folks.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Parks and Rec.
Parks and
Yeah.
Rec.
And the Parks and Rec, because they are down to 4 members on their board, and 2 of them might be leaving. But they have a wonderful setup that just give people to help, and they're there to help provide food.
Friends of Sheridan.
Planning commission.
Yeah.
We need a planning commissioner, so let's
Well, we
get
got
on
an
that.
application.
Yeah.
Friends of Sheridan Parks. Yes, what does a planning commission do?
Yes.
Sheridan Education Foundation.
Great.
Is there any group that represents? like,
Tree of
this?
Giving.
Yeah.
Oh,
There you
yeah.
go, tree giving.
What
Sports.
about where, yeah,
Sports, like any of the.
Talking about Agile.
Would that be maybe,
Agile would be the nonprofit
okay,
that is youth sports.
yeah.
I think Little League is a little different. I don't know that they're the same entity, but yeah.
or we can do like a little league too.
What is representative?
Wait, where's Tammy? Not Oddfellow, are they called?
Yeah.
PTA.
So do you wanna,
I think that's the Sheridan
It's
Education.
PTO.
do you wanna be able to inform the people who have questions? I mean, a lot of complaining comes from stuff from the code enforcer. It might be nice to educate them on auditor services, that she's a friend, not a foe.
Yeah, we got besides city staff,
service.
besides city staff, well,
Yeah,
Okay, I wasn't sure if that, but she's kind of,
she's city staff,
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
she'll be that her next case.
Yeah, like maybe she could do a little presentation.
So that's another thing we need to think about, is how long this meeting wants to go on, because you do start to lose people's attention. So if you want to have Cale, which I also, John, kind of poked him about this being like a state of the city address, and it being like an annual thing, and it just kind
that's
of
okay.
grows. And so I think he's still stewing on that idea. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Where's it going with this? So how do we want to structure this, right, Cale? Like, we want Cale to speak and introduce everybody, and then we want people to have an opportunity to talk, but maybe also not everybody is, somebody who wants to speak in front of everybody. So we want to be sure that we're also having, surveys or something else to collect
That's
some
why
data
I
and
think
feedback.
They could go to the tables.
Yes.
So I'm saying if someone doesn't want to get up in front of everybody and
Yes.
talk, they'll know to go to
I was gonna say,
you
yeah, they would
or.
talk to the 15.
So that's,
But I think like-
that's the thing too, is like, how do we want to, cause this is gonna be a long group, and even if we gave everyone 1 minute, it might go pretty quick, but we do, I think, want to have some sort of introduction.
Okay, I had a thought. That would also possibly interest people in attending. What if we did a survey that we can have available here, we can put it all over social media, that basically says, like, what are like the top 5 things that you have your attention on the most that you would like to hear at this town hall? And then we can kind of structure it around that. Like, I definitely think that there should be someone who's responsible, whether that's you or someone else that's responsible for doing a very quick, like, here are all the nonprofits in town, here's a very quick orientation to what they're doing or what they're responsible for, like maybe within categories. And then maybe that is poster or whatever we have on the wall is actually the organization of how these all are kind of like fit within these categories. And then the survey will be, what do the people have their attention on right now? What do they most want to hear about? Because maybe it is code enforcement, or maybe it's like potholes, or maybe it's, you know, whatever. Maybe it's like the streets or the parks, or, you know, education or whatever. And then we'll be able to, one, get them interested in like why they would want to attend, and two, be able to know who should be on the hot seat and having like a 5-minute, you know, like if we had five people did a 5-minute presentation, you know, and then 15 minutes for a Q&A, and then a breakout for like 20-30 minutes, then that's like hour and a half.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I think that's a great idea, is the state of the city, some quick introductions to the big players, those 5 most important, just like you said, and then the breakout session is really gonna be when people focus on those things that.
Yes.
Let me get a better definition of your timing. So you're saying the 5 major ones are gonna have the 5 minutes.
Yes.
Everybody else get like a.
Yeah, well, there's the State of the Union, maybe that's 5-10 minutes.
State of the city.
City. And then, yeah, like if there's 5 major areas, then that 5 minutes each, and then the Q&A, which probably could go for a while, but maybe we just have it be like 15-20 minutes, and then the breakout, which they can ask a lot, or, yeah, they can ask a lot more.
Yep, good.
I hear what you're saying, but I think we're trying to get too much into one town hall.
Yeah.
I think we need to focus on it being informative or on questions from the attendees, okay? If we had this first town hall that was informational about the state of the city, these are the places you can go for help or to help, okay? And a 2-minute introduction of each one of us and turn everybody loose to talk to them, and then ask them to fill out the survey of the things that are of the most concern to them while we're there. Then once we have that information, we can assess whether or not we need to have another town hall to actually discuss these concerns. But if we try to do information, we're gonna get the people that wanna complain that overpower the whole thing.
I was gonna agree with you, because I was doing the math in my head about all this time you're talking about.
Yeah.
It doesn't give a lot of time for them to come to those individual booths. I like the, really quick, we gotta run down, this booth is for this, this booth is for this, this booth is for this. No 5-minute, please, that's 25 minutes right there.
Yeah.
Just go on.
Yeah.
And then, people are gonna get bored, they wanna ask questions. I would rather than have time to go to those groups to ask questions, know about them real quick, know what they're here for, but now go ask your questions.
Can Heidi, like Public Works have a table, the code enforcement person have a table, that kind of thing, so that.
Yes, I've got the city part covered.
Okay, cool.
As long as Heidi's table's bigger. Then
Yeah, and then
The Cale and I have that part.
And the city council members, I just think it's really important that they will have the chance to answer questions maybe publicly.
Especially Lucy.
Yeah. I just think it says something in terms of transparency that the council is saying, like, ask me the questions, especially because there's a confusion as to, oh, you're ignoring me because you're not answering me when I'm asking it at what I'm told to attend, which is and I'm not faulting anyone, I know this is how, it's just how the charter's set up. But you get what I'm saying, like, they come here to try to ask a question, try to get interaction, they almost rarely get that. And so now we're saying, come to this and ask your questions.
Cale also is open to himself up. Do you want to talk about your Fridays?
Yeah, people can talk to me every Friday from 10 to 1. They can also call me and text me.
But he has office hours now in here on Fridays.
Oh.
Yeah, so they can do that too.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's been in the bulletin the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Can I share that on social? Are you fine with that?
Oh, okay. She's hoping people know.
Great.
I think that at the end, there should be some sort of survey of what did we not offer? What would you like more information about? So that would be that would help in constructing the second town hall or a follow-up town hall. And, was there something you wanted more information about, or what was not here that you would like information about, so we
Yeah,
had that feedback.
Yeah, that's 3 surveys right there.
Well, no, I
But we
mean-
could add on as a question, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think we
add
could
that
add on to
question
it.
on, just because it would help shape a second town hall. I think.
Because what I heard was that we would have a survey before the meeting
We don't have
even happened
Yeah.
to
that's-
get feedback so we can address what's going on. But we could just say, come to the meeting and ask what you're, concerned
Yes.
about. Because I still, hopefully, I'd still like to, get feedback on, this downtown,
Mm.
I don't wanna call it a grant,
The-
it is a grant, but downtown plan, basically.
Strategic plan.
Yeah, downtown strategic plan, because there is a window when that opens and to apply for the grant, so I wanna make sure that we can do that. So I still wanna make sure that we have that during the meeting, because,
Well, we let people know this is the push that gets the ball. All right, we're starting here, and I think everyone's brought up a lot of good points, and it's like, this is not a one and done. This is the first of dozens of conversations and get-togethers and other stuff as we move forward. We just wanted to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Was the whole brainstorming point of the initial thing, was have a first event and see what, I mean, we don't know how well it's gonna attended, we don't know what's gonna happen, we don't.
Yeah.
So let's just put out to the community, we're trying something and we're as curious as you are.
there are some cities that do this either quarterly or semi-annually, so I think in the past, the city's kind of done this infrequently, and usually it's because there's like a large topic or something that they need feedback on, but if we did this somewhat regularly, I think it would be great.
Yeah, every 6 months would be amazing.
I like the idea of having the short intro like Matt's talking about, and then if you have a then you could have your own table, each city council member could have their own table, and you go to, and that gives the availability, you want to complain or not, and you just do it, and then I think you won't lose as many people if there's 30 minutes of talking, a lot of people might just let them go.
Yeah, it's more online, and people who are asking individual questions.
Right, it'd be better, each
Okay.
table, then that could be really a better communication with what's going on, and
Because
then maybe
Make it
answer
pinpoint.
each city council member, yourself or whoever, myself, you'll be able to find out what people have their attention on or what they're thinking about, and it'd be, I think, more one-on-one.
Well, then we can have like sign-in sheets too. I'm trying to think of, it's been a while since I've been to like a college fair or job fair or whatever, but it's they might have like a little, banner or a little thing put up, but you don't know what they are or who they are, like you don't know what programs the college has, so you go and you talk to them. Right. So I think that would be great ways, like if people are interested and hopefully they'll just go around and talk to everybody, but maybe they won't.
What if we had like a RSVP with this group, and then with that came like the opportunity for, I don't know, we put a word count, like 50 words or less or something, and then we put together like a brochure essentially, and then we assigned everybody like a table number, so visit table 1, and it's the food bank, and
Or it's a map.
With like a
Like a
brief,
map.
with like a really brief description of what
Yes.
each one's do. Okay, cool.
Like have it like in a U, and then each table's got a number, and then there's a list of what the numbers and then the group.
yes.
I like that.
And that's the way we can promote it ahead of time.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
they
yeah,
know,
ahead of
they
time.
know, they know.
We
what
do it
is.
early.
Yeah.
So, provoking hope did, this is our 3rd year, we'll be doing it again this year, sometime in October. So we started it in the parking lot on 10th Street in McMinnville, and it's called Our Community Cares. And it's a resource for the community. And everybody who is a service provider within Yamhill County providing services is invited to come and do a booth. And that's exactly what we do. So a letter goes out via email, saying, save this date. And then we send the next letter, which gives them a little more vital information about what the purpose of, what the theme is this year, what the purpose is, who we know for sure is gonna be there, who's gonna be in booths, And last year, we had 39 people on the parking lot at the Praise Chapel Church on the corner of Irvine and 3rd Street downtown McMinnville. So it was, you know, a lot of people, a lot of service providers. The Sheriff's Department was there, Mac PD was there, probation was there, corrections, and every service provider that we could get to come, you know, Blanchard Farms, the HHS, and, you know, just everybody who provides a service into the community. And essentially that's what they did, and it was quite never-ending. And we still had that many people show up, and it was an amazing, and they got handed a map with the number of the booth and what the name was, and a little description about what that service provider offers. So there were food bank people there were clothing closet people were there, you know, any service that would be provided, plus some city and county representatives were there too. Pretty amazing.
So real quick.
Was it,
I was just gonna say,
was it well attended?
Yes.
Oh, good.
could you do another mailer like you do with the water bill, or something like this? I think that'd be the easiest way to hit the whole community, would be some simple little flyer that goes like we do for hometown days or something like that in the water bill.
Either that or just have it be a standalone thing, because not everybody gets a physical.
I just think it's easy.
Less and less people are getting a paper water bill.
Okay.
Use that like a little,
So
like
we did it.
cardboard postcard type of thing.
I think one of the other things too was have a stock slide, you know, a poster, right? And all of the contributing groups, we all agree to share it on our socials and our websites. And so, because some people may follow the food bank, some people may follow revitalization, some may follow chamber. If all of us blast out on our representative socials and email lists, that would get a real broad brush to the community.
The site, I was thinking about groups and whatnot, and one hometown days, we want something representative for hometown days or group that, it's not really, it's a thing that people really have a lot of questions about. I find out over and over and over again about how it's created, how it's doing, what it's going with. Is that another group, Christmas committee, those kind of things, that's what we're looking for as well.
Of course. I think we're also looking for not only just resources that are available, but I think every organization that I attend is also looking for volunteers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an opportunity
Christmas committee is a great idea.
for that too.
I think, you know, a lot of people in the community don't realize that a lot of the things they take for granted is all volunteer run. I mean, all of these things are all run by volunteers, right? And they need to know that.
Some of us are paid.
Yeah.
The select.
You guys get paid?
I just got it wrong.
Well, in other words, we're not all nonprofits. The district is not a nonprofit.
No, but
I love service organizations.
But I think people would be surprised to know the majority of the people like yourself that are paid, that you're also a member of Rotary, and you've spent your time in the food truck too. So I think people in the community might be a little shocked to find out just how much need there is, and also how much volunteerism there is in the community.
Well, even organizations like that, even whether it be the school district or even the sheriff, they also will take volunteers, I mean, for certain, you know, certain things going on.
Search and rescue. Fire district. Search and rescue. Yeah, I've got the fire.
So even, so even if the organization might, you know, have its core members, you know,
I'm gonna write this
paid,
picture.
they'll still take volunteers.
I think
Not that I'm familiar with.
So Cale, on your state of the city, then are you gonna make a great emphasis on volunteerism?
Can.
I think it would be
I mean, I
important,
don't know.
because most of the
Who's
people,
writing this for you?
well, most of the people in this room are volunteers, with the exception of a few. And the only reason you get things done is because people volunteer. Because, you know, we're not getting paid, so.
Yeah, that would be, yeah.
And people might be surprised to know that that really is how most towns do it.
Yeah.
It's not usually the paid, I mean, like definitely I think a lot of the paid people do volunteer, but the main events, even in McMinnville, they lost so many volunteers for some of their major activities that they stopped doing,
Turkey.
Rama, that was volunteer
Yeah.
based, so it's not just Sheridan, it's a chronic situation of lack of volunteers.
Well, you know, too, I've had people think that city council and the mayor get paid a salary like Heidi. And like, I wish,
Yeah.
you know, and when I tell them that we volunteer with a mute check that we get, they're just really kind of, it diffuses a lot of their aggression. Because I'm volunteering, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of shuts them up a little bit.
Yeah, I think that there is kind of that, I don't know if it's media or what, that the mayor is like, some elected, that the person that just has an office and that's all they do all day is they're at City Hall doing that, but that's definitely not us. That's definitely, I don't think, maybe Portland, but most cities, that's not how it is, so.
I think we've been sort of looking for a resource center. This might be the way to do it.
Yeah.
This will get people here, and if they can get to the terminals they want to talk to and find the services they need, then there's your resource center. You don't need to worry about having it in a building somewhere or someone may or may not want to go. And if it really works, then this is something that could be done quarterly or every year and really have a sense of what's going on.
And I can throw Ashton under the bus and say that most likely he'd be willing to have if it doesn't work to have it on the city page, we could have it on our revitalization.org/resource, and we can maintain that. I can gather all of the contact information, give it to him, and he can just maintain it as a page and we can just blast it constantly on social media. You need something great, go to this page, and then they can, every 6 months. I love the every 6 months. I think that's such a smart idea.
Well, if we have a central page, then all of us can have a link on all of our other pages. So if someone lands on the Chamber of Commerce page, it's like, here's the link to the Community Resources page. They go to the food bank, they go to
Community
Rotary.
resources page, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I forget which city it was, but they did have an actual section on their website, and it had everybody's info. And I'm not quite sure how the city's website works, but I'd like to look into it. I don't know if I can manage it or edit it, but I edit the school district's website, so I'm a little bit familiar with how website stuff works. So.
We had one here when I first started, but it was getting more and more outdated. So
I just have to start
page
over.
of it.
And we're kind of, this is a good starting point.
Yeah, I like the idea.
On the city's website would be good.
Voluntold, man. Just
I
voluntold.
like the idea of Ashton.
He's not here, so.
Yeah.
I'm down for scouts and website development.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else do you need to know, Cale?
Date.
They figure out the time.
Yeah.
And if anybody, I thought, what did, Diane said something about like a theme or a name of it. I kind of thought there's been some ideas, like we are your community or something, I don't know. Or come get to know us, or I don't know. So if you want to think about that, Cale, or if anybody has a good idea, it is kind of catchy. to have like
We
that.
are community.
Yeah.
We could even, somebody could even share their ideas, after they, think about it for a little bit and then share it. But yeah, I think a date, we can go ahead and talk about it. I think we wanted to give us a buffer to be able to put this out and kind of
Get it together,
almost just be able to put it out, several weeks. And I think we thought the end of August, maybe.
That's what?
That's several weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
You work for a school district and you wanna do this in August?
Well, that was actually I was gonna ask you, Dory, in your guys' opinion, because I know my wife being a teacher, those first couple weeks are nuts. When do you guys feel like with the school things have kind of gotten into the rhythm? Like, do you hit the end of September? Do you hit
Middle
the
of
rhythm?
October, probably.
I was gonna suggest September, October. That gives you more than enough time.
Well,
Cale wants it tomorrow, okay?
the only problem with that is when is the opening? I mean, is there like a hard deadline on that grant?
That's a good question.
Well, we can, I guess you're right about that. We can move all of that to kind of an online survey if we really need to do that, but I think it is October, actually. So I'll look into that for the grant.
Is it too much to do 2 different events? Because this one sounds like a community resource, really strong informational, then we need to gather information for a grant. When the city was conducting another type of a forum, I remember we used the high school cafeteria and we sat around and had a really great conversation. I'm wondering if we could do, you know, and keep it exactly to an hour, but this idea on these questions. And Cale, I don't know if you were there when the U of O researchers came in and they were doing a study with us. They just basically quickly, four people, you each head to each table and you rotate it around. And it was fast and it was a butcher paper, give us your ideas. You just need to have the night and we could really post it through the district to gather this information.
Yeah, and I know the city has done something similar with like the athletic complex, and it was, you know, butcher paper, walk around, look at different ideas. And that might even be helpful to give us more time to not try and cram it, you know, everything together, because, you know, even, you know, during this meeting, it sounds like we've kind of whittled it down, but it's still, there's a lot. So I'll try to do one time. And, you know, maybe, you know, people would be more interested in just coming to a meeting where it's just standalone, you know, future Sheridan downtown, you know, the future ideas.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be themes, you know, if we need more, you know, transportation options, you know, what does the city need? What should the city, like, you know, work on, or what should they include, that type of thing? And then a separate meeting with, resources, nonprofits, and me giving the address or whatever, and they can still go around and talk to everybody. Or maybe do it, you know, swap some of the ideas I said, you know.
Well, I really like
whatever makes sense.
Dory's push on this, because I think, especially with the grant you're talking about, we really need to get those parameters set down. And then a little bit later, a month or two later, then we go with these are your resources, people. We need these questions answered first, but then we go to our resources, which gives us time to do both, but not feel overwhelmed. Because doing these events, trust me, they get overwhelming really quick.
And the meeting for the grant could be, you know, a smaller location, or it could be, you know, you could even stretch it out kind of like with the athletic complexes. People could come in as they were available, and it could even be on a weekend.
I just think we're not gonna get, if we don't boom it as a big thing, we're not gonna get as many people. I think the first thing needs to be like a big one, with like a, I don't know, big. I just think you're asking people to give up their time to do this, and they've been asking for a town hall. Some people have been asking for a town hall for a while. I think there's a way to do it without like having it be exhausting for everyone. I think it's, and I still think if there's any way that we can do it in August, the whole thing in August. I mean, even if it's like, just show up with some flyers and be at a table and you just focus on, just doing the main like state of the Sheridan, and then a really quick review of the nonprofits. I'm still a little bit like, I like the idea of people being able to ask their questions like within a group, because there's the transparency factor of that. But I do agree that they're gonna get a much better response, like to be able to have that individual one-on-one. I don't know how to reconcile those two things.
Maybe, Cale, you could think about having each city councilor at a table, and then they kind of rotate, like speed dating, and go through them, and then
Oh, like those counselors, like, I'm game.
Wow,
those counselors like hear feedback from a group of people. So kind of what Dory was saying with like the U of O researchers group or whatever, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
They just gather feedback, and so, you know, each counselor sits at a group and listens.
It could be like magical chairs, or
Yeah.
5 minutes, okay, switch, 5 minutes, switch.
Yeah, I don't know. Cale's looking for, I think, for this group to give him exactly what this group is doing. It's giving him a lot to think.
Do you have any thoughts, Ian?
I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Let's go ahead.
Well, I think the first thing we have to establish, what is the objective? And if the objective is a town hall meeting to present resources, then I think we really need to focus on that for the citizens, so they know what resources are available, and not think so much about the grant right now. Just figure out you know, give those resources to the people in town and then create something else.
For the grant, we just need a survey.
Well, yeah, and depending on the timing, we could still have, hey, did you fill out the survey for the downtown thing at the town hall?
Like a paper.
Yeah, but not have a big focus on it.
Maybe
Just
have a
like,
QR code there that people can scan or do.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
people don't like the new school way, they can do the old school way. That way at least you have another table just for that.
and if it's before the last week in August, when teachers come back, it won't be as busy for school. Unless that's still, you know, too soon, but.
And for the grant to be able to say that we had this talked about at a town hall with this many people attending, I think that would be really helpful.
I would still like to have a separate, I don't know, some sort of, it could be, I'm just thinking of what the, what it was, the athletic complex, what they did.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of thinking that essentially this is kind of, as far as this grant goes, I think a similar situation would work well, because you know, we did talk about having the paper, talking about themes, colors, whatever. Good.
So it's easy to fall into the trap of analysis paralysis, right? I think we all have a lot of great ideas. We all have a lot of different visions. I think we could talk honestly for hours and kind of keep working and fleshing it out, but I think that ultimately we probably should start somewhere. Let the community know that this is the first of a whole lot that's coming. So I think if we just go with a quick state of the city and then the resource with the roundtable kind of speed dating kind of stuff to get the ball rolling, I think that is doable for that week of the 19th to the 23rd of August. I think that's a doable thing.
All in favor?
I
know you're supposed to say
that.
Somewhere in that week, because that's Dory, that's before you guys, the classified staff comes back, right?
August, new employee orientation's the 22nd.
Okay.
Wednesday, Thursday?
Thursday's the 22nd.
Thursday. But that might, I mean, wherever we hold this isn't necessarily.
Cale, you have a city council meeting on the 19th.
What is like a good, is it better to do a community thing midweek and in the early evening?
You never.
But not a weekend, not a Friday. Monday is exhausting.
Probably a Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday.
And what day of the week did you do your research there? You know? Wednesday. In
I was
the
thinking
evening?
Wednesday the
Wednesday
21st.
the 21st.
The afternoon, yeah.
Wednesday.
That works for people. It's the afternoon.
What time?
Wednesday the 21st.
Yeah, it's,
I got the date.
I mean, 6.
I like 6. I think you're gonna get, like, Joe, when you did that survey, was it 6?
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of them said 6 to 8,
Okay, so that's,
over 50%.
Wednesday the 21st, 6 to 8. Where do you want to have it? Yeah.
Faulkner Chapman.
I mean, that is.
I mean, that does have AC, but that doesn't necessarily, it's, I mean,
Or would they be?
that gym is definitely big enough, but do we want, I don't know. So no, the last community meeting like this, I believe it was in the high school cafeteria.
It was.
And I know there's no AC there, which who knows what the weather's gonna be.
Dark and
But I think the cafeteria would have enough room maybe, but I don't know. It'll.
I'm just sensitive to changing and what our custodial staff is gonna need to do to set up the cafeteria, high school cafeteria, or possibly the Faulkner gym, main gym, would be the 2 easier areas probably to set up.
Yeah.
Give us a lot of room.
So,
Yeah.
I wanna throw out there, you know, locations in all are great, but you're talking a 6-week period to get this done, and get this plan, and get the information out there. I think if you're gonna make it that quick and you have to have it that fast, you really need to set the metrics of, by week 1, you have this done, by week 2, you have this done. Is getting this information, getting people lined up to do a thing. You're also talking the end of summer where most people are doing vacations or going out and are gone, so you're not gonna have a lot of community, you're gonna lose some people that way. You're gonna lose them if you don't get that information, and I know we tend to, in a lot of the events that I run, you wait till the last minute, a lot of people, a lot of nonprofits, it's like last minute and you're rushing. So really pushing a lineup of, we gotta get these done because we're doing 6 weeks. months to plan hometown days and get that done and get the information out there. And usually we were getting the information for hometown days, that big event that everybody knows about. Still people get confused. We get it up 2 months ahead of time, you know, if we can.
Well, if we kick it to September then there's Wednesday.
I'm not saying not to do it, I'm
Oh,
just
no.
saying.
I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm going by your experience too.
Yeah.
So we could kick exactly a month and do Wednesday, September 18th. I mean, school's back in session, families are in flow.
Or we
That
can get it to
particular-
October, and then we are at the beginning of the giving season.
That's true.
Okay, so we have all of these resources that are available just as Thanksgiving and Christmas is coming up.
When is the metrics you need for your grant though, dude?
Ian has had.
So that will be separate. Ian, go ahead.
Actually, he was addressing my point, that I wasn't set to make, so. I like your thoughts about the time frame.
Because I mean, obviously by October, I think that grant will be put down, but no.
I do think that we should do what Matt's saying, that we should have a clear direction of what we're doing at this point in the process, where we need to be at.
Yeah, kind of like, just like, okay,
That should
yeah,
be
week
our
one,
set about-
end of month one, whatever, yeah.
Targets.
And
for hometown days, I have specific targets.
Yeah.
That have to be met or we're gonna have problems. So, yeah.
I think that would give us, I mean, the grant will, I mean, I'm already fine with having that grant be its own separate thing anyways. So,
We can send that in the mail.
yeah, yeah,
It's
Yeah, QR
important
codes.
enough to be its own thing.
yeah, yeah. And then there would be more of a focus on community organizations in the city as opposed to
Well,
future stuff.
what do you think about then Wednesday, October 16th, 6 to 8? That kind of hits what she's talking about, going with that. And then to address with what Matt's talking about, because there's a lot that needs to get done, but there's also a lot of people, maybe having a group of
There might be
3 to
volleyball,
5
basketball at Faulkner Chapel.
that volunteer this evening to work with the mayor on those points of setting it up,
Setting up your metrics.
setting up your metrics. So if we could pick the date tonight, a date and time, and then get 3 to 5 people that are willing to volunteer to work with the mayor on the metrics and the structure and all that other stuff.
Heidi loves that stuff.
Push it.
If we do the
I think I'm
third,
already doing a lot of this.
if we do the third Wednesday, that's usually when, school board meetings are held, so that's, me and Dory would be, occupied.
Well, and John's
But-
right, there could be like sports.
It could be volleyball at Faulkner
Yeah,
Chapel.
and the calendars aren't updated
That's
yet.
why
So we don't have schedules.
You don't wanna schedule a thing, we all show up
August
with
is
volleyball
nice
game
because
going on.
Hodges
Sunday night.
started.
In that case, though, we could just have it in the high school cafeteria. In August, we aren't gonna have to, in October, we aren't gonna have to worry about it being 90.
What about, I mean, you're focused on the school, but we could have it at a church. We have some large churches here.
Yeah.
That's true.
That could equate to the same thing, and then we're not dealing with school and all the different activities you've got. I mean, I've seen some amazingly sized churches in the community, and we're talking about nonprofit, you know, that's exactly what the churches are all about. I know the school is too, but them are not worried about contending with those timeframes and what's gonna be. We've got a church that probably not on Wednesday, at least some churches, I don't know, churches.
Well, how many nonprofits, what's just a quick count of how many nonprofits are there?
You're talking one person per, so.
Wednesday.
So we've brainstormed 24 groups that are not
Thursdays
here.
or Tuesdays are conscious.
Okay.
Yeah, on Tuesday
And we've
the
got another
15th,
10 that are here.
Tuesday, like 34 tables.
Tuesday the
And
15th.
our
Tuesday, October
office isn't big enough to have that many tables and still have room for people.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think,
So Cale, I think you're in limbo for location.
no, it's smaller than ours.
Cafeteria is
I mean, you could think about doing it still in the nice weather in September and doing it at the city park, like around the thing, like she said, the outdoor one.
That'd be nice.
On the basketball court.
Yeah, we could just do the basketball court, it's under summer.
People, families could bring
Just
their
bring
kids
rocks
that
all
way.
over church.
Actually, that 20 years is still not bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got married in October 11th and it was nice.
Yeah, it can be done.
Not
The wedding or
separate.
just the weather?
The weather was nice, it was still nice outside.
The wedding was amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of people there for the kids parade.
Yeah, and if you actually ask the church down there very nicely ahead of time, they'll absolutely free up their parking and, if I do for home guys, I just make sure I talk to them first. There's plenty of parking
The
there.
other thing about having it outside is about being able to hear, you know, I guess I'd be the only one who'd be, you know,
We can get
talking
sound.
to everybody, but
I can get you a sound system to compensate for that, not a problem.
We have chairs, like enough
Just
chairs.
have Matt translate.
I've done that.
Does the city have like outdoor chairs that we could use?
No,
Chairs.
Lucy, wasn't there
Bowling.
your
yes,
chairs?
bowling
Don't you
chairs.
have chairs?
yeah, that's another thing is we would have to get tables and chairs there.
I don't remember how many they
Whereas some of
had.
these places don't even
I don't think we have like, how many do we have from the school?
Are you talking chairs for everybody who's coming?
Well, there was chairs like at the beer
Yeah.
garden, wasn't there, that you were trying to
I think
figure
it was
out?
about 60, yeah, those are the Delphi's, yeah.
I don't really see with the round format you're talking about that you really need a lot of chairs. We're only talking an hour, so people can stand for a little bit of time. Because you're having a speech for about 10 minutes, 15, I don't know. Maybe for you, I'm just trying to give you more stress. But then you really have people standing up and milling about to the different tables.
And then
So
and the
you really just
tables,
need chairs and tables for the different, so it's the amount
I
of
think
people you
each
got there.
nonprofit may have to bring their own table.
That's fine.
How many people are we talking about? We're thinking that might attend.
I mean, it would be great if we had 100 to 200.
That's about where my brain's at, 100 to 200.
Yeah, I mean, that, we had, when we tried to do something like this, we had 75 at Monroe, and that was not, like, we could have promoted that a lot more, and there, I think with enough promotion and all of the different groups
Food,
pushing this out.
should have food.
That was actually one of my thoughts was.
If you feed them, they will come.
You have to offer something.
I have all kinds of
That will
ideas.
attract-
Maybe each nonprofit can bring something, like water, like we
Oh,
can
that's
assign
nice.
each one and
Buy
buy.
No clothes.
October,
I just want
October
to-
reminds me of June in this part of the world.
Yeah.
It could be, that's why outdoors makes me because you could have a beautiful evening and you could have sideways rain
Yes.
in the middle of
I've been
October.
documenting the first 2 weeks of October's weather, for many years, about 10 years. Actually about 15 years, because leading up to the wedding and going to so. The first 2 weeks.
2 weeks in October, if my brain goes with you, I've been kind of tracking.
3/4 have been good, but the other one has been terrible, because I do an event the first weekend of October, and I recalled some pretty terrible, but I would say for the majority, yes. It's
Yes,
Yeah.
it's pretty nice. This calendar doesn't have to
Six
go
to eight,
live.
yeah. When does it get dark?
And it gets dark.
Well, lighting again is not hard.
Go with basketball lights.
These are things that can't be solved. The rain we can't solve, but the light, the dark we can solve.
There's gonna be no perfect day, there's gonna be no perfect time, there's gonna be no day or time that works for everyone.
Well, for us, time is 100 to 200 people. I mean, I don't see why a church, most churches.
Okay.
We're not talking thousands.
Well, all right, why don't we do this, so, cause I can see us getting,
Yeah, we're distracting.
so why don't we do this? Let's go, let's say October for right now. Let's get a group together, that group of 3 to 5 people work with the mayor, to start working on those points, those different themes. Then we can also start to look at locations, we can start to narrow dates.
Yes.
If we
Subcommittee.
if we give people at least 30 days notice of the date.
30 days, and you honestly don't want it more than that.
Right, because I'll forget. So if we at least say the beginning-ish of October, somewhere in Sheridan.
Good.
Yeah.
Find the meeting, that's
Yes.
find the
Yes.
Bigfoot.
But yeah, I think then at least we can get the ball rolling and start, because there's a lot that we can still do.
yeah,
One,
Lucy, go ahead.
Lucy.
Oh, yeah, them see.
Lucy.
How about the Barbara Roberts Center?
It may be, depending on
Non-existent.
Smoking hole.
Yeah,
It was
pen-
still there this afternoon when I was
Right.
looking at it.
Dory, I don't know, do you wanna,
It's not, the longer that structure structure remains empty, the more filthy and leaks and everything else, it is a huge lift to clean it up, to have people there. And we're not sure of when we will demo the building. It'll be sometime in the fall.
Yeah.
We'll have demo day. So,
Is it like a factory? Like a big area, like Forest River or something?
I think they're going for 4 hours.
throwing that out there is a great idea.
What's Nick pointing at?
You want-
I might have that.
Go ahead.
These guys are pointing.
Put it down.
I'm waiting.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay. It would appear to me that if you're gonna start working on this, one of the things that I can't believe we don't have that we ought to have is the capacity for all the facilities in town. That should be hardwired someplace where you say this, and here's what I can see. So maybe that group of 3 to 5, that 3 to 5 people ought to be able to do that in addition to all the stuff we're doing. That way it's done, and we don't have to go through that the next.
Yes.
It's not a bad idea. Even for emergency planning, it's not a bad idea.
If we're gonna do it in October though, I just felt like the last town hall that was at the high school cafeteria, there was room for chairs, there was room for tables, and we shouldn't have to worry about whether or not there's air conditioning. And that's very centrally located, and it's a very people go there and they don't have to worry about what church am I walking into, or.
That should go to, I think, the top list. We don't have to 100% decide today, right? We just
Well,
know
that's
that-
what the subcommittee should be for, is just, say that.
We'll find a plan.
And, subcommittee people, whoever that is, keep in mind that if it's gonna be the school, it works out great to have events on a Thursday night because we do not have students on Friday.
Oh, sure.
So that
There
really
you go.
saves us for cleanup and setup for the next day. So a Thursday night for the cafeteria would be great.
We do October 10th. That's almost 3 months, exactly.
What time do you wanna have it at?
6.
6 to 8.
6 to 8?
Yeah.
So we're gonna have it at the high school cafeteria.
Already
Yeah,
just
yeah.
decided, no subcommittee needed.
Yeah.
So October 10th,
October 10th from 6 to 8,
I like
high school
it.
cafeteria.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it.
Thursday.
Okay, the other thing is that Cale, I think, wants this group to meet again and again, right? Because eventually this group will be a group that also talks about supporting each other.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think we're running out of time for this meeting, but in the future, it'd be great to talk about kind of like a big project you're working on, and then it would kind of intertwines.
Is this the town hall that the city council voted to spend $900 to put up?
No.
The
For
$900 was,
For the furthering of the,
the $900 is the
Task
task
force.
force stuff, yes,
Yeah.
and so it is a thought from that thinking process, I guess, I don't know how to phrase this,
Right.
but this is what it is more evolved into.
okay, so is the task force gonna be doing a presentation there?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. No.
Oh,
We're having a task force report that's coming to the city council, but I need to dot the i's, cross the t's, and get it out. Nick and I just finished it Wednesday.
it seemed like that was something that the city council voted on, was we wanted specifically a town hall. I specifically voted to support spending that $900 on a town hall. Because, and I know that we may not be spending that $900 now. or
The
whatever.
$900 was for the report, the end of the things. It wasn't specifically for the town.
Right, but I supported this idea of this town hall specifically because I thought that the task force owed a report at the end of their findings to the public. And that is, I still feel pretty strongly about that. I think they do deserve a report of some type from them at this town hall.
I mean, the report would already be out to city council prior to this, town hall, but we could always just say it again, town hall. Yeah. Dory, go ahead.
Well, it's been talked in different circles for a couple of years of going to a national night out idea. So for this group to think about, because what you're really talking about tonight is a community resource fair. And so that is very much a national night out, which is usually around health and safety, emergency preparedness. information, nonprofits, and that's always like August 4th. And I'm all for anything down the road that can be, the whole back to school thing just generates energy. And with the backpacks and just different things and school supplies and all of that, to tie in, whether it be National Night Out or something, but to do a community resource, that's like a back to school night. You can get a ton of people there.
There's quite a turnout in Lowell.
Yeah.
So
We did
just
one
something
here
to think about.
years ago.
It's a good idea.
Didn't we do one here?
The
Whole
Rotary
county
Club
used to
movie.
do it. I
and they
swear we
used
had
to-
one here like 7 or 8 years ago. I
Yeah,
remember
once.
going to the park
Yeah.
and it
Back
was
to the
really
future.
well attended.
Yeah.
So maybe this helps launch in the future,
For
this
next summer.
concept of August
Yeah.
being a good date, yeah.
Yeah. And that National Night Out.
Heidi, do we have contact info for all of the nonprofits here? Like,
Yeah, I just did it, I had everybody's, I had a sheet and I was like, why am I doing that?
So now's the $1 million question. Who wants to be part of that group of people who work with the mayor?
Cale is, sure.
Yeah, so I'll be on it. I don't know if anybody wants to be on part of that. So raise your hand or just contact us in the future. Okay.
But,
Yeah, like
yeah,
the
there we
four of
go,
us.
you say, there we go.
Julie's
Okay.
Julie? Oh, great.
Yeah.
And I want you guys to know, I don't even live in the city limits.
Neither do I. You're saying.
Thank you.
I'm not right in the deal, thank you.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, yeah, I hear banjos.
Okay, well, I think that about covers everything. Me and Heidi will figure out a separate date and event for this grant meeting thing. We'll figure that out and then we'll start working toward October 10th. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for coming. This was great. Thank you.
Really great. Yeah. Thank you.
Good. See you Monday. I'm gonna go